Jump becomes jumped. Play becomes played. Want becomes wanted. Every ed ending falls into one of these categories. The key is to think about the final sound of the base verb. Let's talk about why ed endings matter. We use them in regular verbs to show the past tense, like I walked to the store, and sometimes as adjectives like I'm excited or she looks tired. But here's the tricky part. ed endings aren't always pronounced the same way. Today, we're tackling one of the trickiest parts of English pronunciation, the different sounds of the ed ending. If you've ever wondered why played sounds different from walked or wanted, you're in the right place. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly how to pronounce these endings like a native speaker and avoid common mistakes. Let's get started. There are three main sounds: t, d, and id. Let's break this down. Every ed ending falls into one of these categories, depending on the final sound of the verb. Here's a quick overview. T is used when the verb ends in an unvoiced sound. D is used when the verb ends in a voiced sound. Id is used when the verb ends in a t or d sound. Let's take a closer look at each category with examples. The t sound happens when the base verb ends in an unvoiced sound. These are sounds made without vibrating your vocal cords, like p, k, f, s, sh, and ch. Let's look at some examples. Jump becomes jumped. Talk becomes talked. Laugh becomes laughed. Now, repeat after me. Jumped, talked, laughed. Can you feel how short and crisp that t sound is? Great job. If you're an intermediate English learner that wants to achieve advanced fluency, use the link in the description below to check out our B2C Nation. This is an English community that we've built to help intermediate learners get beyond that intermediate plateau. We offer live lessons, actual conversations for you to take part in, ebooks, resources, and full access to ask all the questions that you want. We hope to see you there. Next, we have the d sound. This happens when the base verb ends in a voiced sound. Voiced sounds are made by vibrating your vocal cords, like b, g, v, z, and all the vowel sounds. Here are some examples. Play becomes played. Learn becomes learned. Love becomes loved. Now, repeat after me. Played, learned, loved. And notice how this d sound is a bit softer and blends smoothly with the verb. Excellent work. Finally, we have the id sound. This is used when the base verb ends in a t or d. Adding id creates an extra syllable. Here are some examples. Want becomes wanted. Need becomes needed. Decide becomes decided. Now, repeat after me. Wanted, needed, decided. You'll notice this is the only category where we add an extra syllable. Make sure to emphasize that when you speak. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, it's time to practice. I'll say a verb, and I want you to say the past tense form with the correct ed sound. Ready? help, helped. Enjoy, enjoyed. Watch, watched. Call, called. Start, started. How did you do? Remember, the key is to think about the final sound of the base verb. Before we wrap up, let's talk about some common mistakes. Many English learners either overemphasize the ed ending or add extra syllables where they don't belong. For example, saying walked instead of walked, saying played instead of played. To avoid this, remember t and d sounds. The ed ending is not a separate syllable. For id, add the extra syllable clearly. Keep practicing and you'll nail it. Now that you know the rules, it's time to use them in real life. Listen carefully to native speakers in conversations, movies, or podcasts. Pay attention to how they pronounce ed endings. Then try recording yourself speaking sentences with these endings. Compare your pronunciation to a native speaker's and adjust as needed. Here are a few sentences to practice. I walked to the park and played baseball. She decided to join because she needed help. We laughed so hard that everyone stared at us. Practicing these sentences will help you internalize the sounds and build your confidence. Great job today. Mastering the ed sounds is a big step towards sounding more fluent in English. Remember, practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep trying. If you found this lesson helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see our future English learning content. And share it with friends who want to improve their English as well. As always, leave a comment below with any questions or suggestions for future lessons. Until next time, keep learning, and we'll talk soon.